It was 2011, so it was 2 years ago. The 10th anniversary.
Well,
came
no,
out.
but
God,
remember.
time flies. Jesus.
Wow.
I think we're back. I am gonna share out the new link to the chat.
Put it in the chat.
Yep.
And we'll just roll with
When
it.
did you send that picture of those 6? Oh, there it is. Never mind. I found it.
What were you looking for?
We're live, by the way. Now
The
Psycho,
6
I don't
what?
know what you're.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Are we live?
Unique weapon.
Yeah,
yeah,
we're live.
oh,
We're
yeah,
live.
that was-
New stream.
Ooh.
No, click. It was no, Vic. It was not my PC. No, I'm not running the show. Mav,
Yeah.
it was his
Change
PC.
your description, Mav. It says turn your videos until live stream. It says I don't know.
What? I'm
It's,
showing
it's,
YouTube.
It's just
yeah.
the auto generated.
Yeah, it's the auto generated thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's going to be no description.
No, they weren't outlaw. They were not appreciative of our reenacting the trial. They did not think we were very good at it.
But we need to shut this down.
Yeah. We'll say I don't know what's going on with the internet. It dropped for a minute and came back, and I don't know if I'm having internet troubles or if that was a fluke thing. So if this continues to happen, we'll just end up having to call the show tonight, which would suck. But you know, we're here.
I think
Mav's
Steel
running
has
this
the
show
codes.
off the cricket hotspot. Is what he's running it off of.
Paul,
Yeah.
you weren't supposed to tell people that, man. Damn, that was behind
Yeah.
the scene.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the
Dr. Lee's
20%.
models.
Yeah, Dr. Lee's models.
20% internet.
Yeah, 20% internet. That comment was fucking funny. Yeah, so we're back, and Dr. Lee's 20% was in question heavily by the judge, and they couldn't really come up with a good answer for that. And he kept trying, and the lawyer kept trying to direct the conversation off of that, and then he was like, eventually was like, "Can I get some help?" And so some other guy came up there and tried to talk in circles around it.
Yeah,
pretty
who was
much.
it? Was it? Did they have like 3 lawyers? I guess.
Yeah,
Or
they,
four?
you know, there's
16.
teams of lawyers, right,
Okay.
for both sides, and you know, they one of the other lawyers tried to step in and answer these questions, and they weren't really answering the question, but what they were trying to do was do a much better job at talking around the question, right? And
Which they did.
you know, yeah, he did, and that's why the judge kept being like, and that's why that took up about 20 minutes of the entire closing arguments is that damn 20% question. I gotta say, one thing with the closing arguments too is like, I don't really think Microsoft really got to have their shot
They
too
didn't.
much at the
Yeah.
with the closing arguments.
FTC went way too deep and had so much more time to like overanalyze and talk about like nothing. It felt like they were talking in circles a lot of the time from what I was able to hear before the break and then after the break. And that
It's
last
better
segment.
to go like this than pitch in when you need to, which is kind of what Microsoft did. They weren't really rambling. They just attacked the points when they needed to. Meanwhile, FTCs were like, well, you know. So
Yeah,
I think it worked in their favor.
No, it did.
I think it's also because the judge had more questions for the FTC's points than she did about Microsoft's points because they were a lot clearer.
Which is a very valid point that you bring up there, Jasper, because if you notice during a lot of that, and there's been this conversation that I've been seeing, been listening to throughout the week and then also tonight, and how people feel like, honestly, the FTC cooked Microsoft somehow, or the judge cooked Microsoft somehow. And again, I don't see it. That wasn't my perspective. And I would be the one to jump out there and be like, look, I have the right perspective and you don't. But I'm not that guy. So with that in mind, it's just for me, a lot of for what we've seen, especially from this last kind of session that they had, it was literally the reason I brought up the whole talking in circles thing, because it was literally the judge answering more of the FTC's points and her trying to figure out what their point was overall. Like her even bringing up and saying, hey, well, so you're here for Call of Duty. That's what this is about. Oh no, there's these other things, and it's just like,
no, we got to protect Sony. It's like,
Yeah,
you're not supposed to protect Sony. You're supposed to protect consumers. It's like, oh, well, we got to go on break. Hold on.
exactly. It just kind of blatantly shows you where they're at. So it's like for somebody to say, oh, well, they got cooked up, and it's like, And I mean, people have this other side of that opinion, right? So it's like, I don't know. Did you guys see any of that? I know there was a couple times where somebody went up on the stand, they might have felt a little weak or whatever, in comparison to the whole trial and what they were going through. But did you guys feel like everything was one-sided, maybe, or like good back and forth?
Their closing arguments was, I think, Microsoft's weakest point, and then their second economics dude, the guy that got paid over $1 million, like he was a lot weaker than Dr. Bailey.
Dr. Bailey was like left an impression on the judge. You could kind of feel that.
With the telemetry data, there was hard evidence right there that they presented, and she
it was a lot more clearer. Like even if you weren't not super understanding of that market, she was like clearly saying things that you couldn't kind of grasp.
She was precise.
She was precise.
She was explaining it too, instead of just being like, "This is this number," and let's move on.
Right.
It's like, which helped.
I mean, that's sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's the FTC that they seemed to try to kind of throw confusion in what it all meant, and hopefully the judge would just look at numbers and be like, "Oh, that's a big number, so that this looks like it's bad." But when you have Dr. Bailey breaking it down, it was like she really understood everything that she was trying to say and what she was showing, and really the FTC, that first half of that closing arguments, they were horrible. I mean, they sat there and like deer in headlights at especially that 20%. Where did he get 20% figure from? That just threw them for a fucking loop. No one had a decisive, definitive answer for where that came from, and they had to go to Microsoft, and pretty much where she said that, well, at this point where I said that I was kind of asking that, where did you get it, and he could not even answer it then. So but then the FTC is like, oh no, it's over here is kind of where we talked about it, but really it still wasn't even answered.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's still
where the FTC was trying to steer it to their narrative, and it's like
it still doesn't say where they pointed to where he talked about it, but didn't say how he came up with it, right?
Exactly.
Which was what she was trying to get at, because it was that was evidence they're trying to present as like a foreclosure type situation or a harm to consumers, right?
Yeah.
And that's what she's focusing on. I shout out to Alvin with another $5. Appreciate you on this news stream. Thanks everybody for following over here. And I hope we are able to stick with it. I know the internet's not doing great right now, so we'll see how it goes. Alvin hit us with $5, says, as hard as they tried, Larry and Curly just couldn't help Mo explain where the 20% came from. Shame. Anonymous boss with the $10. Appreciate you. Says, salute to everyone. It's the biggest here. Shout out to the biggest. Just changed my name here. LOL. By the way, I can't wait for Starfield and people running it on 4K. Yo, Mav, where are your magic cookies at? My magic cookies are in the other room where I was just playing Diablo, because I was having a few magic cookies there every once in a while. But thanks to everybody for following over, and we'll see if we're able to stick with it tonight. But if it crashes again, it is what it is, right? So we had the 20% moment. We talked about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the day, like, to answer Steele's question, because he was like, do you think it's one-sided or whatever? Day one of the case was Microsoft. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Day two was Microsoft. Day three was Microsoft. It wasn't till the very end,
the closing arguments,
the closing arguments, where the FTC was I guess the most effective.
A little more prepared.
I don't think that's even it. To be honest with you, like, I think the reason why it may have came across that way is because the judge had her plan for this, in my opinion, and she was trying to get some answers from the FTC during the closing arguments. It was her chance to keep asking them questions. So it turned into the closing arguments was more like the judge versus the FTC in a lot of ways, but it gave the FTC a lot of chance to try and explain their case. So it may come across that the FTC was like making points or whatever, but it's not necessarily that she bought them, right? It's just that she was trying to give them an opportunity to try and make a case, because I think they failed to do so in the entire rest of the hearing. So I think the closing arguments was just very heavily weighted with the FTC. How that sits with her, well, we don't know, because she's not going to give a direct answer to that. But we do have evidence from the things that she was saying numerous times during those closing arguments that she wasn't buying it, right? She wasn't buying the 20%. She wasn't buying the fact that she believed people were going to go buy a PlayStation if they couldn't get Call of Duty on PlayStation, or buy an Xbox if they couldn't get Call of Duty on PlayStation. She wasn't buying.
I do love how she was trying to get clarity on a lot of those things,
Yeah.
rather than just letting things slide and then making her decision. She was really
And then when
trying
I think it was when the dude brought up Diablo, she's like, yeah, but we don't know that that's going to be a successful game. Like, we got Hogwarts this year, that was a successful game, and they didn't predict that was going to do that well. So like, she was even like coming up with other points to like,
Yeah. And
He
at
bumped
one
FTC.
point she was even trying to say that you can't tell me that it wouldn't be pro-competitive if you know, like
Call of Duty's
Microsoft.
on more places.
Yeah, exactly. Right. She made that point too. And the FTC was trying to say that you can't use those deals.
It would harm Sony.
Right. The FTC is trying to make the case that, yeah, if it harms Sony, it harms consumers, because Sony would fuck over their consumers if Sony was harmed, basically. And there was a lot of that going on in the closing arguments. So I don't necessarily think the FTC had a strong showing at the closing arguments. I just think they had a lot more time to talk.
Well,
right.
What the FTC did show, from what everyone should already picked it up, was that this seemed like this deal harms Sony. We don't care. Like, there was barely any talk about consumers. And even on the closing arguments, the judge said, you know, this is not about Sony. This is about the consumer, and then went to break. So to me, everything that they were doing, it's FTC this, Jim Ryan that, and it was or not, it's Sony this and Jim Ryan that, and it's like Xbox is going to harm consumers because it's going to harm. It's not Xbox's fault if they go and take this, and they, I mean, Phil Spencer said under oath he's going to bring Call of Duty to every
which made a lot of the, to me, made a lot of the FTC case irrelevant, because a lot of it was trying to
say that it wasn't they were not going to do it.
Yeah, like
even he said this under oath. He still might not do it. Like,
even if there was one point in the closing arguments where they were trying to say, like, if Call of Duty is made exclusive, it harm people, and she's like, yeah, but Sony and Nintendo have more exclusives anyway, so what would it matter?
So those are the things that kept being said that I don't know if a lot of people are like really holding weight, because like, if she's asking those questions, this is probably where her mind's at slightly, right? Now, like the human factors part of this, Pong brought that up again last night, and who knows exactly what she's going to decide. And based on how she conducted the hearing, I wouldn't have any fault with her no matter what.
And she's going to look at the law, right? She's going
the only thing I see personally that has any validity to possibly granting the PI is the cloud aspect of, if she takes it as a separate market, that this, because now Xbox has this huge jump on that. The cloud's the only thing, but did Microsoft do enough to let the judge know that cloud at the moment, because of infancy, that it's not a market, it's just a path of way to
and she said
consume.
She mentioned Sarah Bond a couple times. Like, didn't Sarah Bond say they use it? I hope
if Microsoft had said enough about cloud, that, and seeing that, okay, having other cloud services being to get the Call of Duty deal. And why was FTC bringing up Google every fucking towards the end, they're like, well, there's no Call of Duty coming to Google. It's not coming to Amazon. They only
Google
did
doesn't
these
have
remedies.
a service to even sign a deal
I know.
for.
And he kept
But they
mentioning
only
other
signed
places
these
too, and trying to avoid Nvidia.
To really they just cherry picked which streaming service to give it to be like, oh, go look, we did our job. Like you mentioned 2 places, and Luna, for whatever, is it able to run? Why they didn't go to Amazon, not sure, but Google, there's nothing there. So why bring Google up is besides, I have no idea why he was even mentioning Luna. Amazon, that's one. Why didn't it go to Amazon?
Google may be coming back with YouTube.
So
Yeah,
we'll see.
good.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But to me, it's irrelevant because again, it's not really the fact that they even offered.
She thinks, and she said
mean,
this during the closing arguments, that she sees that this is where the industry's going. Like we all do. Like she's like, you don't put DVDs anymore to watch movies, right? She said everything's on like subscription services, and
but she also mentioned Sarah Bond's testimony at some point. I don't remember if it was this day or another day, but I do remember she mentioned at one point that don't people use the cloud just like because they actually gave the numbers of how many people are using the cloud and how long they use it. It's like less than 1%, and saying stuff like that, which I can't remember if it was in the closing argument or if it was the fourth or the third day. Or...
The thing is, like, I don't even think she would see it as a separate market. I think she would just see it as that's where the market's going and going to grow and transition into, right? So it's not necessarily a separate market. It's just like the same market that's just going to transition with technology. Like, is the movie industry a separate market?
Well, if
now
it is,
than what it was before, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is the publishers and studios that release DVDs, is that a separate market than the streaming services that they own?
Well, if it is, she was also saying that the FTC saw that that they already made the deal, so wouldn't that satisfy it? And I think that's when the FTC was trying to argue.
Because like, the FTC was also trying to argue that NVIDIA was going to die in like 2 years or whatever. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And who knows what's going to happen. I feel like the closing arguments is one aspect, but we're kind of going through highlight moments here of the hearing. Another big reveal was some of these documents that got put out there, right? Me and Pong went for about an hour yesterday talking about acquisition season again, because wow, turns out Xbox was really interested in a lot of different studios and publishers.
The entire gaming industry.
Pretty much. That was pretty crazy, seeing that list of the actual interest list from Microsoft's perspective. Now it's outdated now, it's 2021, right? But a lot of those studios and publishers out there, and Sega even had to come out and make a statement about this, right? Where they were like, we're not interested in being acquired right now, but we do feel more valued by Microsoft than other platform holders. I think that's a pretty damn big statement for any publisher to make. I don't know if I can recall another publisher saying that.
I think also Microsoft's made certain partnerships with these studios now. So like we know that they got a partnership with Paradox because they presented their whole game show this year. They seem really close to Sega because they've written all those games in Game Pass. So like maybe they're just kind of transitioning that into partnerships with these larger companies instead of just outright buying them.
Yeah. 11-bit studios.
Made that point last night.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
11-bit studios.
No,
it's
a good point, Jasper.
Yeah. 11-bit studios also, they had that deal that they just made.
Yep.
Annapurna had numerous games just announced for Game Pass as well. We know the Sega thing already. All the Yakuza games that hit Game Pass, Persona games now and stuff like that. So they don't necessarily have to acquire as much right now. And maybe this is what they've been doing in the meantime. And maybe in lieu of acquisitions that they may do later, though, once ABK is closed, right? Like this is maybe a stopgap also. So who knows?
I think it also is like what they're looking for. Like they're probably not looking for like a smaller publisher because they got Activision and Bethesda. So like a publisher buying that wouldn't really make sense right now in the West, at least. So like maybe they're looking for more tech stuff with these companies now instead.
So I wonder if we can pinpoint these Game Pass deals with these different publishers, these publishers that have multiple games in Game Pass, right? And if ABK fails, like those will be the first ones that potentially be acquired.
Not if they just keep the partnership. They could try to acquire someone that they don't have a partnership with,
like Square.
Yeah.
Right. Which was on the list. I wonder if that ship has sailed. Pong, you think there's a chance?
Yeah. There's always a chance with the position that Square's in. Of course, there's a chance. There's a big chance. It wouldn't cost them much. The FTC admitted in court, which we didn't touch on yesterday, I don't think, Mav, but they admitted if this was a smaller deal, they wouldn't be there right now. So the FTC said that in court. So Square Enix, Sega, definitely still on the table for sure. And Square specifically, yes, with the position that they're currently in, the only thing that you would have to consider is how many deals Sony has with them and for what future games, right? Because obviously Microsoft's going to honor those contracts as they always have. But otherwise, yeah, with how Square is floundering and how they need money, I think it'd be I personally, like I said, philosophy wise, managerial wise, I don't think it's a good match, but I think Microsoft would try to make it work and the price would be right for them, especially the foothold they would gain instantaneously by picking up Square and what it would mean for their catalog, for the mobile publishing in the East. All of that stuff would fit right in with what Xbox wants. So yeah, I still think it's on the table for sure.
We just got
it's on the table.
We just got a comment, Jordan Kinney 2230. If you're watching, you can you could join the chat. You don't have to put a comment right now. And he said he did not made it up. He clearly eventually found the page. It was referenced from page 25. Then the judge clearly stated, "Okay, thank you. Why do y'all lie?" No, we said that they found the part where they said 15 to 25%. But the point is that still doesn't say where he got the data from. They just point to...
And they confirmed that you could input different numbers into his model and it would spit out different answers. Like they confirmed that. And they gave the range that he found and admitted that he just randomly put it in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So no, the fact is that he did not have a precise model that spit out an absolute 20%. Correct. So that's not, we don't lie. There might be times where we say something where we mistake, but we don't lie on purpose. So shout out to you for hitting us up on the comments. But yeah, like Mav said, jump on into the chat. Let's go. We have discussions with our chat all the time. Don't be scared. We're good.
Yeah. Our chat won't bite you.
No.
But
they bite Nick's, but that's besides the
point. What's funny is that we actually directly answered that, Correct. But it's okay. You can hear what you want to hear. Now other big moments. We got the acquisition list. We got the Indiana Jones exclusive thing. We got the crazy closing arguments, which were just bananas. I mean, that was like, that if that was a TV show, it'd been like 10 out of 10. That was just great. That was great listening. I mean, that was amazing. And I feel like most of the big highlights happened on the first week, right? And then the second week was more of the economists talking and stuff, and it's like they're trying to make these cases.
Yeah, we got all the leaks the first week because they were still trying to figure out how to present it without leaking it. But yeah,
the expert witnesses, the economist things, right? And it's like, really, in any kind of trial, you bring in your experts and stuff like that, and you see this like with murder trials and all that kind of stuff too. Well, I'm an expert with hammers or I'm an expert with blah, 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 and I understand that the weight of this hammer could not be used in this way or whatever. And then the other person has an expert. I'm an expert at hammers as well. And this hammer could have been used this way because, and it's like, okay, who do you believe? Right. And here's like one.
You see, this hammer is solid metal, so it has slipped out of your hands with this amount of pressure.
Right. The biggest difference was between the two economists they had is one used real world data based on users, hours played, per game, a lot of information, right? Pointing to the popularity of Call of Duty and all these kind of things, right? And then one was based on buying behaviors based on last generation buying behaviors, right? And trying to turn that into speculating about what's going to happen in the future is pretty. It's a reach, right? To try and speculate that much, especially also when all the speculation's irrelevant because of the fact that they're going to put Call of Duty on PlayStation anyway, but they're worried about the Christmas skin. You remember that? The partial foreclosure
Xbox Christmas skin.
That's when the judge was like,
"What if Call of Duty offers a Christmas character this year?"
That kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, and I think that's where they're losing the judge at that point too. Them trying to use all that information and stuff and pitch it as like, well, but this could happen, right? This could happen.
And that's when she said
the exact same thing that Sony's been doing.
Yeah, the judge actually mentioned it.
You can name a million hypotheticals. A million hypotheticals. And like, do they hold any value? Is there any evidence to actually point to that hypothetical situation happening, right?
Well, they said they don't have to prove anything, Mav, right? Then they say they like it's presumed, or they said something towards the end. Like,
I think that Microsoft attorneys like countered that and said they do have to prove. I don't know.
The burden of proof falls upon the FTC 100% in this case. Like, Microsoft doesn't have to prove anything, right? They were there just to counterpoints, but all the burden of proof lies upon the FTC to prove to the courts that there is, foreclosure possibilities, that there is harm to consumers and to competition. It's all on them. Microsoft was just there to counter. That's all they were there to do. That's why I think the impression was the last few days when the FTC did better. And I think that was the other part. They fumbled so hard for all those days that actually when they actually started getting a little bit better at being concise with their points, it sounded like, now they're starting to show up. So I think that kind of added to it, but it was more the fact that so much focus was on the FTC towards the end there, especially reaching towards closing arguments, that's why the FTC sounded like maybe they gained some ground there, but that was to be expected because they were kind of getting to their conclusions finally, right? So I think that's where a lot of that came from, but it is on them completely, 100%.
And if we want to talk about liars, let's talk about Jim Ryan for a second, who said that all publishers hate Game Pass.
He talked to each and every single one of them, by the way, personally. Apparently. He called them up.
Yep.
Did y'all know that's a fact? Apparently now, hand over my heart. I'm Jim Ryan, and I will tell you that all publishers hate Game Pass.
I got a question. So are the ponies getting their points from Jim Ryan, or is Jim Ryan getting the points from the ponies? I don't know who's getting the points from who.
Yeah.
They're feeding each other. It's a vicious circle.
But this trial really sounded like a Sony defense force, right? Like PlayStation, they were there to protect PlayStation.
Yeah. The consumers, what about them? Sony's what matters.
No, they were there to prove a point that big bad Microsoft is trying to consolidate the industry and make it bad for everybody. Guys, like, I don't know if you guys aren't getting the point. Look, listen, I need you guys to really listen to me.
It's from what I was
told.
It's not
what I was told. Okay? What I was told. People told me that
What they tell you.
Microsoft needs to do things differently. Microsoft has admitted that they can't win the console generation, so they can't make good games. You guys just want them to buy Activision and Blizzard to do what? Make more bad games? Look at Microsoft. Like, what else can they do? They have to spend $80 billion to make bad games. Look at Redfall. You guys like 30 FPS? That's the capability of our current consoles.
Stop holding the line. Stop holding the line.
You gotta start.
You need to
We gotta
draw the
start
line,
drawing.
okay? Stop drawing the line instead of holding the line, okay, guys?
Yeah.
You guys need to tell the Microsoft.
All right,
you
Ace
want.
Ventura, listen. All right. Or is it Jimmy Neutron? I don't know. They both look the same.
Yeah, there's a bunch of craziness going on. This trial's also brought out some
Idiots. Sorry.
some nonsense. Small baseball analogies and stuff like that. Microsoft's apparently the Yankees that can't win, and PlayStation's the Tampa Bay Rays. It was impressive because they're so small, but yet they find some way to win. Wow, we should all.
It's
be
like
there.
a Taco
Everything
Bell-
but the World Series.
They
It's like a
draft all their
Taco
players.
Bell in DC versus a Taco Bell in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Do they offer the
exactly.
same menu?
Yeah, it's their
This is
AAA
Burger
affiliates
King.
are so good.
This is Burger King, okay? The Whopper is different from the Double Whopper because it has Whopper.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
the
Exactly.
nonsense.
Yeah.
That's the
organic.
craziness. It's organic.
Yeah.
It's organic to come in and buy up studios and IPs and everything to get yourself established.
Psycho, they've been doing it
But
organic.
hey,
since
they've
the
got
very
a great-
beginning.
Never did.
They've got a
Sony
great
never
farm
did.
system there.
Sony never did it.
Yeah.
And when
They
Sony
did it
entered
from
the
very
gaming
beginning,
industry,
Pong.
when I know Steel, and when Sony entered the industry, they didn't have any money outside of their gaming.
No way.
They tried to
They
team
didn't
up with
have
Nintendo-
any.
None.
Nintendo. So
Sony was not
whatsoever.
popular when they entered the gaming. They just did it naturally. They earned their way
Yeah.
through the entire
Yeah.
They
process.
said please, and they said
They
thank
didn't
you.
sell any other
Yeah.
hardware before PlayStation.
None.
No.
None.
Sega
They
was-
weren't
Sega-
dominant in any
Yeah.
other.
No, nowhere else.
Industry.
Sega was just like in there.
I'm amazed they even could make a video game. I mean, that was really
Yeah,
impressive,
it's crazy.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they had borrow money to make the first PlayStation.
You
I
think so?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
who'd they borrow?
I think if it
from?
wasn't for Sega, they wouldn't even have PlayStation. Right?
Yeah, I mean, shit.
I think it was
It's not-
Nintendo they were trying to team up with, right?
No, that
Yes.
was Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yes, it
I'm
was.
being funny.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yes.
fucked over Nintendo, and then they,
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to
Then
Sega
they
around that time.
foreclosed.
What happened?
Then they foreclosed Sega. they
No.
partially. They
No.
they
No,
foreclosed.
no, that wasn't them.
They
That wasn't
foreclosed enough inputs to foreclose Sega. So shout out to
No.
Chief Trey with the $5 super chat. Said it's crazy that all the FTC had to do was prove reasonable doubt and couldn't. Yeah. It's that I mean they definitely didn't prove anything, right? Like at all.
They proved that they're a bunch of idiots.
Well, yeah, they're incompetent. They proved that much.
I would just say like this is what I would say idiots. I would just say that they
That
do
you can
not,
say idiots.
They
They're bad.
literally
It's okay to say a bad word.
no, but it's just the fact that these lawyers
They're dumb dumbs.
Say
They're
it.
dumb dumbs. 3-bit.
Call them poopy
I think they're
heads.
just ignorant to the market. Like it came across.
You
like,
can
throughout
call them.
this whole trial.
Don't say about the market. Just call them ignorant. Call them ignorant.
All right,
fucks.
I'll call them ignorant.
They had zero education in anything. It's like they got all their pointers from Sony. Hey Sony, what do you got for us so we can catch up real quick? Oh, we do everything naturally and organically. Microsoft buying everything. They're bad. Let's go.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
The
Give me
only
some more.
bar they pass is the one on the way to court.
Oh, and make sure you say Elder Scrolls 6 is as big
16?
as Call of Duty's multiplayer. So make sure that Xbox has multiple high performance IPs for their high performance console in this high performance market that we're making up as we go.
Gen
High
9.
performance.
Gen 9.
No,
nine.
high performance is a real thing, Psycho.
Yes,
It's real.
yes, and so
That's
is
what
Bigfoot.
I've also heard that that's real. High performance consoles, man. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, you guys wanted high performance
Well,
PCs, now you got high performance.
It was
consoles.
great when the judge says the Switch is better because you can take it on an airplane.
That was so funny. I was like, ooh.
And how about when she also said that pretty much everybody's got $1,000 to $1,500 computers now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, oh,
FTC said,
oh God.
oh, they just have $200 PCs. I'm like, $200, please. I would love.
Everybody's got Chromebooks. Everybody's got
$200
Chromebooks. That's what they
PC.
got. Yeah,
Where are these $200 PCs?
Everyone bought a $1,500 PC in the pandemic to do work.
to do Zoom. They all
Right.
needed it to run Zoom.
Yeah. I need a 2080 Ti for my Zoom call. My job bought it.
What a fun couple weeks. It's been.
I'm gonna miss it a little bit. Not gonna lie.
I'm
I mean, it's almost
tired of
over.
hearing about Dr. Lee's fucking models, to be honest with you. Like,
I want to see these models. I want to see these charts. I want to see Dr. Lee's models.
Yeah,
Are
'cause
they-
we didn't get any visuals.
Hey,
on the,
be warned, it
right.
might be in crayon.
Yeah, he was like, I felt bad. I almost felt bad for Dr. Lee after the two witnesses that
He
Microsoft had out
made
there.
it. He made it up, dude. It was so clear to me, at least watching the trial, that like he didn't even know where he got the numbers, and the judge was like making fun of like the math bit.
Well, it wasn't
So
him
she-
trying to defend himself to the judge. That was a lawyer asking
Yeah,
where
that was-
where their witness, Dr. Lee, had gotten it, and
Well,
the
yeah,
lawyer
yeah,
didn't have an
yeah.
answer.
wasn't he the
Right.
one
Three?
that the judge was like,
Day
oh,
three.
the survey you didn't read?
Yeah, the survey you
Yeah.
didn't read.
Yeah, because that was what, day 3 or 2?
I don't
2,
know.
Jim Lee?
It was
2?
2 maybe. Because she was basically saying like she made the joke the survey you didn't read, because he kept bringing up the survey like, well, I got
No,
the
no, no.
numbers from the survey.
It was 3 because 2 was
Oh,
Sarah
okay,
Bond.
okay, yeah.
So 2 was was it Bradley or Microsoft chick, and then Lee
Bailey?
Yeah,
Bailey.
Bailey.
Bradley.
She went after him, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like a very crazy contrast.
And then there was Dr. Was it Carlson? Or Carlton?
Carlton?
Carlton. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an
I missed
interesting
some of those.
character.
It's like, yeah, because and then all his cases were thrown out. So like anything he said was thrown out of those cases. So it's like,
yeah, great. Get
did
Microsoft.
anyone vet this guy for Microsoft? Like, no, but he has substantial numbers.
Yeah, he was interesting in like the way he was just talking, right? Kodak was very interesting too. Like he just seemed like he's been in court a million times.
Guy said it sounded like he had somebody over for coffee
Yeah.
at his house. He was just chilling,
It's
talking.
like,
It's
yeah,
like, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
a fan of Game Pass.
No, just not
No.
a big fan.
It's like playing Call of Duty was like trying to use a refrigerator as a safe.
yeah,
You know?
Yeah,
you know
no,
that old analogy everybody uses.
Yeah.
yeah.
Refrigerators, as they
Yeah.
you know.
We
Did you
can
catch the Yankees? Oh no, what is it? The Lakers? You get anyone catch the Laker game?
Can you guys just answer me this question? If there was 2 pizza shops, why couldn't Microsoft just make better pizza?
It's a great question.
No, they have to go buy the best ingredients. They can't. They
Oh,
can't
They
make
got to
their
buy
own.
Papa John's.
Papa John's. Oh!
That's a fantastic question. You know,
I'm just curious.
I think
Questions of life.
they only had 5 cooks in the kitchen compared to 12 for a while, and now they have 23 and about to have more. I think so. They're expanding their kitchen to be able to put out more food.
Tasty
Okay.
food.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I
That
think
sounds like
Better,
that's the
better,
best answer.
more ingredients to make tastier foods.
Yeah. And you know, they're expanding and they're buying this other pizza chain that's already known for making good quality pizza.
Nah, they don't do that. Nobody does that.
Sounds like a monopoly.
Sounds like
Sounds
it,
like
you
looks
know.
like a live feed.
Nah, this is good business. They've been working together for a while behind the scenes.
Is this
Organic-
are we getting
organic
some
pizza.
live Steel Rain werewolf gameplay here?
I am not playing. I don't know who did this.
That's crazy.
At the start of the show, he just had his like character up. I thought he was going to use that as like his face cam or whatever.
Yeah, have his
I was
character's
debating.
lips move while he's
Yeah, I was-
podcasting.
Yeah, that was the thing I've been working on behind the scenes this entire time. I'm gonna be the next VTuber, just off of Diablo.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Your
who's playing
werewolf's
Diablo.
fast, man.
It's
He's
also
dead
dead.
now.
Yeah, he's dead. He just died. How embarrassing!
Happens.
Live on air.
I know, man.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's so distracting.
I am getting distracted. I'm like, Diablo's got its
I
hooks
think
into
I'll
me.
watch it.
I'm like watching the fucking gameplay.
Okay.
No, you're
I
good.
need to portal home. I need to portal home now.
You got to
Like,
go
oh, wait,
repair
we're
your
on the show.
armor, bro.
No, I'll be all right.
I just saw a 264 pop. That's nice.
That's a casual number.
That's a casual number for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a low
Show
number.
off.
No.
We were playing before, and it's like I'm wanting to play again right now. Damn it, Steel. Anyway, we'll move on past some of those highlights. But where do y'all think it goes? Like, I mean, I think the more I think about it and look back and stuff, I'm thinking I feel pretty damn good about where it is as far as Xbox goes, and maybe in the next week and a half or so, we'll get an answer.
They said that I think they wanted the judge is going to file under seal so Microsoft can look at that and make the decision off that. But I think everything goes public on the 12th is what they were saying or something like that.
No, that is public the 12th. Because they weren't they have to talk to
the third parties and stuff or something like that.
Yeah. Activision Blizzard actually filed something with today as well, basically saying how ridiculous the FTC's case was. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think that my gut right now is saying that the judge will not allow the preliminary injunction. But
yeah, Florian put out an interesting post too. I don't know if we want to talk about it. Or
Florian is never going to think that
yeah,
this deal is going to get
pretty
blocked at all. But he has great analysis on all this stuff and great things. But like, definitely, no offense to him or anything. It just, you can definitely tell that I don't think there's anything that would sway that guy's opinion.
I feel like the perfect
other
perspective right now is probably from it's probably Hoag's perspective.
Yeah,
He's still kind of
seems
50-50 on the
unbiased
situation, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Even though I still feel like more 90-10 than anything, just because of what we've heard. And again, if this deal does get blocked either way, no matter what, I still think that opens another whole line of dialogue that I think is worth talking about, because then it's like, okay, so we can't do $70 billion deals, so we have to do. You're forcing us to play a certain
what's the
way,
number?
which is like, yeah, exactly. So what's the number then?
Yeah. Hoag has made some good points. And he's the one that's cast some doubt in my mind, and not because he's saying that he thinks it's going to get, he's not saying he thinks it's going to get blocked or anything like that, but like, just, he's playing that human card factor as well, right? Like, and who knows, he's more in favor that it'll go through, right? Still, so, but it's interesting seeing these analysts that know more about this stuff, right?
I mean, he was there. He was in the court. I'm pretty sure, right?
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different takes out there. A lot of non-experts saying that the FTC is going to get the injunction.
I just don't get that, bro. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally had to. Phil explained what an acquisition is to them in court. Like, how could you even listen to the FTC at that point?
Exactly. That's my point. But I guess again, I feel like this is another example.
Logic
of
doesn't necessarily always
sense.
apply, right?
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Common sense doesn't always reign supreme, right? Sometimes these things happen, and it's like you can't fathom how in the world could that have happened, but yet still finds a way, right? But I think we'll know our answers here in the next week or so, probably, and maybe by next Friday, and if not, probably the following week. But I think it'll go through by then. If this happens, we have the possibility, guys, next Friday night on Xbox Ultimate Podcast, we could be talking about it's over and Microsoft is going to close the
Didn't
deal.
the CMA ask for a delay or whatever, and the cat denied it? So CMA has
They
to
wanted
be.
it. Yeah, they wanted to delay it to October.
Yeah.
3 more months. And Cat's like, are you effing serious right now? Last minute witching hour, you're gonna be like, oh, we need another 3 months. No. We're gonna get this done, regardless of what your friends at the FTC and the CC was the CCB.
That's China.
What are we
The
talking
what?
about?
Oh, CCB.
Canada. Oh, Canada.
Oh,
They're
Canada has no say in anything anymore.
Oh, I know that, but I'm just saying that they were trying to chime in as well. But
Yeah, they're
didn't
trying
work,
to
but
support the FTC at the last minute. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
the trio. But
what tier dungeon is this, Steel?
This is 52.
52.
Yeah.
Well, I'm noticing the damage numbers he's putting up, and some of these guys still ain't dying. I'm like, my God, like I saw like a 650 pop.
Yeah, Diablo's a whole different conversation to talk about right now, especially you get into the ins and outs about it, but people should play it.
Yeah. I'm loving it. Shout out to Anonymous Boss again. Says, yo, Mav, could you play a couple minutes of the Bethesda gameplay of Starfield for us?
I was just about to go back to town and play the video in the background.
Not on this. I appreciate the $10 super chat. Not on this show. Maybe I'll do it like on a Mavcast or something where we look back at some of the Starfield stuff. I've been thinking about doing that anyway. Kind of like everything we have seen so far about Starfield.
For the launch.
Can I would like just to point out that Jez is being dangerous right now and going around and saying that the judge is gonna grant the PI.
Oh yeah, he's
everybody.
Yeah, I see
everybody's any post about
he's getting so much smoke.
He's just it's gonna get blocked. She's granting it. That's it. Like false patent. He's like she'll grant the injunction, and it's just like, and some people are like just sitting there following and like yelling at him. It's like,
well, Jez actually replied to somebody. I forgot who it was, but he was spot on. He was like, Jez isn't going to answer any of your questions because he's just being a pessimist. And Jez said correct. So Jez is just being a pessimist about the thing. And here's the thing. He's been pretty consistent with that for a while now. Like he just doesn't have faith in the systems, I think. Right? More than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, if anything shows, and the American government, it could go any which way, regardless of the actual truth or the how it should go. We've seen the twist happen, and then you're like, the fuck?
Yeah. But let's move on. Let's move on past this FTC stuff because there's some other cool things that have happened this week, and I want to get a chance to talk about it. Today we found out that Assassin's Creed Black Flag is getting remade.
What?
Isn't this awesome, guys? Like, isn't this, like, are we excited?
It's not awesome because on one half of it, I can't talk about some of the information that I have and know about the game that they it's decided to work on instead of just remastering that game or remaking that game in the first place,
or just using that game as a template and making a sequel that just turning Black Flag into its own franchise.
Like it was already there. Why you didn't have to go reinvent the wheel? And you've already they spent how many years on Skull and Bones currently?
But we don't make enough.
Do we think? Hey, here's my theory on this.
like shitty Russian accent.
Here's my theory on this deal.
That's my French. Oui.
I think they realize they done fucked up, and they're trying to go back and say, okay, Skull and Bones ain't gonna work out for us, right? So let's go to what everybody originally wanted. Let's remake that game.
No, it's not what we wanted.
And then maybe after that happens, they will finally do what we wanted and just.
But we wanted
spawn a
realistic
new franchise
CFPs with ship combat where you can board each other's ships.
Could have did that with Assassin's Creed.
But
Black,
that's
Black
what
Flag 2 or
that's
something.
what like if there is a let's say they remake Assassin's Creed
Oh,
Black
God,
Flag,
yeah.
right?
I know. I'm
Now,
just that was the whole point when it was like, wait, it's just Black Flag, but it's like, but Sea
Right.
of Thieves is out. You can like do first person, get on each other's ships and fight each other. It was like, oh, so we need to make that, and then they went back and they kept going back
Right.
and forth. Like,
and it turned out now you can't do any of that, right?
How
So
can we monetize this game even further and really ruin it? Because Black Flag, we can't do that. We need.
I think the craziest thing to me is just the fact that I personally don't think that Skull and Bones is going to be that great of a game, unfortunately.
No,
And this is a game that they're planning on spending. I'm not going to say that it's going to suck because there might be an audience for it, but they're planning on selling this game for $70. Now you want to go remake a game that has similar mechanics in it while you're trying to sell another game that is supposedly based off of this is where you got your idea from, and it's not even remotely as close or near as good or as intuitive of what you had already. So you literally have spent what 6-7 years on development time.
hey, they gave us a
money.
fucking song at E3 this year. Okay, give them a break.
You even put a song to it. Like they literally think this is about to be the next Sea of Thieves, and I just don't personally think that that's where they're at right now. And it's just, to me, this rings, you are way more out of touch than we even thought that you were. Or you just like spending money to spend money. Like, oh, this is going to be this is a tax write-off for you. Oh, I just needed to spend something. Like, I don't know. That's me.
I think they have to put that game out because of the Singapore government bill.
Oh, yeah,
what they need to do is make it free to play. And hopefully they make some kind of money from the monetization that's going to be in the game.
Good luck.
So hopefully that happens. No, but what we fucking wanted was Black Flag minus the Assassins part of the game and make that into the game. That's all we wanted. That's it.
It's a new
Right there.
franchise focused on the pirates.
That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Pirates and sailing the high seven seas.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, so what if they realize they done fucked up with Skull and Bones? They're going to say, okay, well, let's take it back to the roots again. It's been long enough. Let's remind people because why they were interested in this first place. Remake Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and then they spawned Black Flag 2, and it turns into its own franchise. Hypothetical, right?
I feel like that would be dancing. It's like dancing with yourself in the mirror, just because.
Well, that's fun sometimes to dance with yourself in the mirror, right?
Not if it's costing you millions of dollars, though.
Well, but like they've already burned so much. Like,
well, I don't like. How much work do they have to put into a Black Flag remake? Because we're getting modern Assassin's Creed, so they have a lot of those modern assets for Assassin's Creed. They also have the Sea of Thieves, or not Sea of Thieves, the Skull and Bones assets. So like, they should already have a lot of stuff made that they can kind of throw together and make a remake.
What they're probably going to do is they're going to take some of this and some of that, mix it together, shake it all about, and hopefully they get something out of this.
Oh my god!
3-bit
recoup. You're going to see those ships and Skull and Bones from this Black Flag remake, guaranteed.
3-bit has a unique perspective because he's
man.
been able to actually hear some of the thought processes at
true.
Ubisoft in some of the meetings and stuff in the past. And I know you can't divulge any information, anything you heard before, but based on your impression of the way Ubisoft thinks, right? Why is this happening now?
NFTs died off.
It's profit over listening. That's pretty much their goal. I mean, the fact that they are, I feel like they don't listen until it's too late for a lot of things. Where developers will be like, hey, I think this would be a good idea. And they're like, is that profitable? We're not sure. It doesn't fit our current business model. And I've said this before that they have a lot of voices, like almost too many voices. And in order for things to pass, you go through like, you have the developers and you have these analysts, and then on top of the analysts, you have more analysts, and those analysts on top of those analysts. So before anything's like actually going through anything, you creatively are like destroyed, in my opinion. So when with this game, I just feel like they originally pitched it as what people wanted, which was a Black Flag game. And like, hey, maybe we couldn't figure out a way to monetize that, and then it changed a million times to the point where it's no longer recognizable as an Assassin's Creed Black Flag successor, which is what people wanted. Like, people really liked. I mean, I love the ship combat in Black Flag. I thought it was really cool how you're able to basically conquer other ships. You can jump off your ship. It was just, it's fun. One of the best things out of that game. And all people wanted was just that, but multiplayer. Like, and I think they just after the developers probably had that initial vision, it changed a million times because, again, there's just a lot of voices within Ubisoft. And to me, I mean, that was like to its detriment when I did work there, because there are a lot of people who love what they do at Ubisoft. There are people who are more who are kind of like us. They understand what people love out of Ubisoft, the stealth games, all the different things. But like, clearly, if we don't necessarily want an X Defiant, right? We don't want all of these other like multiplayer games that they're trying to push down our throats, but that is what they are deeming as profitable. They have a ton of studios. They have more studios than I think any other publisher I could think of. They have, if you really go down and look at how many Ubisofts there are, it's insane. And they just added another studio like a month ago, like 2 other studios. So they are growing even more.
Yeah.
So
increasing that amazingly large overhead there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're good at making Assassin's Creed games. So Black Flag remake will probably be pretty damn good.
It's kind of weird that, I don't know, you'd think they would want to expand outside of that to make sure that they're good in the future rather than Assassin's Creed. Like, they have so many other IP. I mean, they were known for their tactical.
Well, they got to
That's
make what
them
sells
different.
to keep them alive.
Yeah, this is a stay afloat move.
See, but then it's like, then they might as well. And I know this isn't just the answer to everything, because here we go again. Oh, everybody should just buy everything. But it's like, if you're really having that much of a problem and it's a creative hindrance, then at what point is it more valuable for you to be under the wing of someone else so that you can allow those creative juices to flow? Now, again, I mean, I think we've discussed that before too, where that's probably just Guillermo's fault, right? He doesn't allow that to happen. He doesn't want to let go of something that he's built up, and maybe he's just selfish in that way, and he's happy with how things are going. But then it's like, also in that same breath, it's like, you can't be happy because y'all also make it seem like some of the games that you release aren't doing the greatest, or aren't doing to whatever your standard is. So it's like, okay, well, what is your standard? Like, I don't know. It's that makes it even
you're
weirder.
Making some great points, Steele. It's hard to take anything you say seriously right now, though, because I just imagine your voice coming through your druid on Diablo right now, because you zoomed in, so it's like in podcast format right now, and your dude's even swaying with the motion of what you're saying a little bit. It's fucking amazing. You got to do every podcast with your druid now. It's just your identity, dude.
I might have to. That may be a new thing. I don't know. I started here. I did this to be funny because somebody mentioned it earlier. Because y'all mentioned it early. Now I just
fucking great, dude. Oh my god.
This is great.
Pong, you gonna play Black Flag remake? Is that something?
Absolutely, 100,000%. It's great. I don't know where I'd have to look at the entire franchise and try to figure out where it is on the list, but it's
right after the Ezio trilogy, probably.
It's
1 is right after the Ezio trilogy.
I don't know. It'd be tough.
I have to put 1 first, though.
It'd be tough.
Different.
That's after 2 for me. I think it's up there.
It's
Two is my favorite.
it's
a
up there.
conversation
But
to have. I like
yeah,
that.
it's a really good conversation because there's so many, right? And
Right,
you could
right.
look at it, and then everybody would have different responses to some. Because I love Syndicate, right? And
I
not
never played
everybody loves
Syndicate. I
Syndicate.
never
Syndicate is freaking amazing. And I think it's way underrated as far as the franchise goes. But
I played
yeah,
a
that'd be
couple hours
interesting.
getting into it.
Yeah, no, I love that. But yeah, no, I definitely am interested in this. I just, as I said, you know, I've made the tweet and made the DMs because I had the exact same thought I think all of us did when we saw this. It's like,
why did
what?
you just do this?
Why?
From the start?
This is what we told. It's like Ubisoft. I understand that it's not as easy as just saying, you know, oh, well, we've got Black Flag and everybody really loved the ship combat and loved the boarding and all that kind of stuff. Let's just make that a separate game. I know that doesn't always work when it comes to creatives and the creative process and what Ubisoft was looking for to monetize it. But I still don't understand why companies, why publishers and developers are so adverse and just think they have to reinvent the wheel each and every time. It's the dumbest and it's craziest thing in the world. They could have instantly turned around with a new franchise like Black Flag Oceans or something like that. Who, you know, whatever you want to name it. You keep Assassin's Creed out of it, right? You don't have to have it as an Assassin's Creed. Everybody would know what it was based off of.
Could have called it Skull and Bones.
Could have called it Skull and Bones if you really wanted to, right? Right, you could have. But let's say you want to keep the Black Flag name because so many people know it. You know what I'm saying?
Black
and you
Flag,
just,
Skull and Bones.
yeah, right, something, right? And just turn that and expand it upon what you already had laid the groundwork for, instead of trying to go back and reinvent this whole monetize from the ground up. Again, I've said this a billion times, and I think everybody agrees, and we've all said it to some degree. Ubisoft is that company that forgot that you have to make a good game first before you monetize. If you start with the concept, and 3-Bits talked about this as well from his time there in generalities, obviously, he didn't break any NDAs or anything, but in generalities, when they come to the table to discuss their games, it's always about, especially from the upper management, yeah, but how are we going to make money off of this? Listen, you got to have a good concept and a good game built first. Then you worry about the rest of it and how to monetize it. And they've completely done this ass backwards. And it shows up in all their games and everything that they've tried to throw at the wall, and nothing has stuck really outside of Rainbow Six Siege. And that was almost a mistake, right? So
I mean,
Valhalla
stuck for them. Siege did stick for them too.
Sure, but I'm talking about the stuff
Odyssey
that they've tried to monetize heavily, right? Steal the stuff that they've really tried.
They did do that with Odyssey. They was heavily monetized. Like, you could literally pay for progression.
But that was an Assassin's Creed,
for power.
But it was a mainline game, right? What I'm saying is their new IP that they've tried to branch off into. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you
so I don't ever understand this. They should have done this from the beginning. They should scrap Skull and Bones, remaster, obviously Black Flag, or simply restart, because they've got enough games coming out now. They don't need Skull and Bones. They've got a roadmap coming up that, you know, that looks pretty solid, right? So just rework Skull and Bones into Black Flag. Start getting the idea in your head that you're going to go back and relook at Black Flag now and say, okay, what did the fans really like about the pirating? Okay, we're going to implement that stuff first. And if we want to add these islands and these bases and all this kind, fine. But let's get boarding of ships and actual hand-to-hand fighting in ships. Let's go back and rework this game. Even if it takes us, 2-3 more years of development, let's make sure that this is a game that everybody wants to play, because nobody wants to play Skull and Bones right now.
Well, I mean, again, we don't know, right? Skull and Bones could come out, and they could have changed some things behind the scenes, and the game could be decent.
They supposedly have the secret version that's better than all of them. I know.
I mean, there was For Honor, which, like, I didn't like For Honor, but like they have that For Honor community that's like diehards, and they've supported that game. So like, I don't know if they were hoping Skull and Bones was going to be that, where they have that few thousand people that just play that game and keep it alive. But
they took out the parts that everybody loved of being a pirate. That's the problem, right?
Well, I feel like that answers the part. Then there's just a lack of creative vision, or a lack of knowing what your consumer is looking for. And if that's the case, then it doesn't matter even if you redid it now. You've already spent 6 years trying to create this other game, multiple delays for it to still. And again, without trying to give out too much information, to be in the current position or the current condition that the game is in, that's weird to me. Like I don't know what else you could do to fix it. There is no patchwork for this. You're doing other things. You're going and digging back into your bag of previous style games of a mainline game already. What else do I need to see that shows me that you literally have a lack of vision? Like if we're really going to put that on somebody, like I know people try to say that about Microsoft, and that's why they're trying to buy everybody, and because there's a lack of vision there. And honestly, it's like if there's anybody who has it, I think Ubisoft has literally fell into a place of the dark abyss, because they have, every time that we look at an open world games, you say, oh, that's the Ubisoft formula. That speaks leaps and bounds for themselves, right? Sure. If that's something that you can depend on, then it makes sense for you to get the games that you have gotten up to this point, and for them to try to make something like a Skull and Bones, right? To where they say, oh, well, this is a formula that's similar, and but we're going to change it and flip it on its head. But then we're also going to make but then we're going to dig back.
But that's the problem. Is like it's hard to monetize the Ubisoft formula, because Ubisoft formula is single player stuff. So it's like they got to put skins and shit in there, and then people bitch about that. So they're like, but they also want it multiplayer now, because they know that they would get more money if it's multiplayer, because people would be trying to buy skins and show off to their friends. So it's like,
but they couldn't do multiplayer well before with Assassin's Creed. So it's like, why would I have faith that this multiplayer shit game that you got all of a sudden is going to be it from you, because you didn't support your previous? It's like, for me at least, I guess that's why I get kind of jaded about the history, because I do love Assassin's Creed. Now, have I played every game? No, because just like Valhalla, after putting 110, 120 hours into a game and you're only 3/4 of the way through the game, like I understand that's cool for some people, but there's something else there that people have also been stating to you. Again, if you're not listening to your consumers, then that's on you. But people have said, hey, you have a great world. You could create great stories. You got this, but it's too massive. I'm not saying that it has to be like super refined and needs to be God of War all of a sudden, but there is a middle ground that you need to work on, which is why, again, I guess that's the answer to while we're getting the answers of, oh, it's a main regular game, and then something that's a little bit more tailored to that experience that you're looking for. But again, there's that, even that still says, oh, well, there's two different visions, or we're just going to, for lack of a better way, shout to the Lord, bend the knee and try to tailor this middle line, all the while complaining about us not making money.
Well, they're making what they know sells for them, and that's Assassin's Creed.
I mean, that's a good point. It's confusing. It's weird. It's like, I mean, I don't know. You might as well sell, because how are you? You have to be burning a hole in your pocket. I don't know.
I mean, attempting all these different games and never releasing them. Yeah, that'll do it. It's like, how many have we had that have gone through this? Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah,
Skull
the Ghost
and
Recon
Bones.
Battle Royale got canceled.
Yeah,
it's like
there was also in that last financial thing that they canceled other games that were unannounced as well, that they never even talked about before. X Defiant is a thing that may actually turn into something okay for them. We'll see.
The Division Heartland thing, that's been fucking.
Oh, and I got a whole thing about that, boy, and I can't talk about that game either right now.
I mean, don't worry, the Crew Motorfest is going to kill off Forza. Don't worry.
Not in a super negative way, but Lord, good. I mean, again, that's another one that speaks to that. You have a game, and anyway,
they had that. What was it, Hyperscape? That they had released,
that Battle
Royale game.
It didn't hit.
The new Mario Rabbids game that did so well for them, and Nintendo was like, you should wait for the next console, and they're like, no, we're putting it out.
No. Probably bit them in the foot.
Ubisoft gonna Ubisoft.
It's interesting to see where they're at. There's Mirage. It's still going to happen. I think that Ubisoft Forward was a better show this year than they had in the past.
Yes, I agree.
But they got to deliver, and Ubisoft doesn't have a track record of doing that.
Star Wars Outlaws is going to be.
That's going to be the big one.
That's going to be big for them,
and so that's coming sooner than we thought as well.
Yes.
Right. So Star Wars Outlaws is going to probably be a big thing. We got Assassin's Creed Mirage. There's this other thing now that wasn't part of their other Assassin's Creed forecast that we got the whole look forward to. So this is a whole nother decision, right? But then we have Avatar
the thing is, like,
is going to happen soon
Ubisoft
too.
They had a promising E3, but I just whenever they put dates on it, I don't give them any fucking credit because they will go right up
Yeah.
to the last month and delay it. So it's like,
Yeah,
how
but
do you
we were
know?
supposed to get Skull and Bones last year, and at their
Yeah, we're supposed to get
E3
Avatar last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like we were supposed to get Skull and Bones in March or whatever, and they delayed it in January again. So it's like
And
they
so
can delay.
I think last year all they released really for a big game was Riders Republic, right?
I mean, and
my
that's
point
been
is, like-
consistent for them. I mean, I'm front on that. So it's like you've got some hit and misses in there, but it's just when you've seen so much success to the point to where you literally have your own. It's just like FromSoft, right? I mean, FromSoft isn't as big as Ubi, so I guess it's definitely different. But when you've created a genre behind yourself, essentially, although it's been there for a long time, and have a brand that kind of speaks for itself. Is Ubi just has Ubi within the last decade kind of more so just been kind of in this lull period, right? Where they were trying to figure things out, kind of the same thing that we're seeing from Sony, trying to push and pull and figure out what works for them and what doesn't.
I mean, the last time Ubi had a name was when Vegas 2 came out.
Oh, man. Dude, like that Ubisoft is in my heart so hardcore. Like the 360 days of Ubisoft were the fucking pinnacle.
That was different.
Man.
Yeah, that was different.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's when they believed in Ghost Recon.
You had 2 Gras, then you also had Future Soldier come out. You had Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2.
Future Soldiers kind of started going downhill.
I wasn't as good, right? But it was still at least original and different for them, and they were trying something, and they actually fucking released it. You know what I mean? Like, which was cool. Then we had Assassin's Creed games are great in that era as well, right? They were doing a lot of different things, and then they kind of like started. Remember Eve's everything has to be open world now, right?
Yeah.
Ghost Recon became open world game. They turned Rainbow Six into this seasonal live service multiplayer only thing.
I mean, and to be fair, that is Rainbow Six's ilk, right? But it not in the way that it is now, right?
But they,
I mean, before that though, Terrorist Hunt was what people talked about.
But the crazy thing is, the most famous character they had behind the Clancy brand, in the most famous game behind the Clancy brand, Splinter Cell,
in War,
missed an entire fucking
Splinter Cell's been gone.
generation. A long generation.
I still remember that E3 for Blacklist when they came on. They were showing the locomotion essentially, where he was running through the open and fucking just capping fools as he was moving. Like that's still a memorable moment for me, and I haven't seen a memorable moment from that like that from Ubisoft. And I since then, honestly, I can remember.
The Division started early Xbox One generation, and
that wasn't what it is. What they sold it as,
yeah.
Unfortunately, it was still a good game.
Watch Dogs was a thing,
Well, to be fair, I think the Xbox One, like where they were saying, like you can have someone play on their phone, like play with you or whatever, like that whole shit kind of fell through. And so it's like kind of on Xbox.
I'm trying to pinpoint the moment in time when it was just like changed for them, where it's like everything is an experimental live servicey free to play.
Probably after Assassin's Creed 3, after Brotherhood, when did that release? That's when I think about it, that's probably when it started. Honestly,
I feel like that's when it started too.
Unity
start transitioning. To...
Unity's probably was,
but with Brotherhood multiplayer, that
was pretty.
It was the Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood and Revelations had multiplayer, but after that they killed Assassin's Creed multiplayer because it was shit. So like they learned from that pretty quickly.
I think Matt was just talking more so about like when did they start moving that direction for like trying to dig into their live service and right.
Yeah, well, because they have this thing that I got it. My biggest issue with Ubisoft has always been the same thing and I've listened to Eve's speaking interview back in the day on Unfiltered with Ryan McCaffrey.
I don't know if it's necessarily the Ubisoft changed. I think it's the industry changed and Ubisoft tried to follow that.
But the problem with Ubisoft is this, and let me explain. Right? Yeah, the industry changes and there's a successful game and there's a trend, right? Ubisoft doesn't just make games in that trend. They say every game has to fucking be that now. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what their problem is. If they take this franchise that's known as something, well, we have to morph it to fit what's popular now because this other thing is popular. So these other games now have to be open world because the open world games were all the rage. So every game, and I remember Eve saying in that interview back in the day with Ryan McCaffrey that the devs don't want to make linear single player focused games anymore. They only want to make open world games because that's what gamers want to play. And that was his excuse why they weren't going to make a Splinter Cell game. And you saw what happened with Ghost Recon. You saw what happened with a lot of these other things. So now, live service games are popular. So, we're going to cancel that other Rainbow Six game, Rainbow Six Patriot. Y'all remember that, right? Now Rainbow Six Siege is going to be what we do. Now, Rainbow Six Siege was a success.
It took a year, though.
It did, right?
Yeah.
The Division was a success for the most part.
For the most part, yeah, definitely for the most part.
So they have I don't question the talent behind their capability of making games, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I question is their decision making and what games they make and what they do with their franchises. Assassin's Creed also turned into this huge, massive open world thing, right? And now they're realizing, okay, people love the original style still, so we're going to go and do that. You can kind of see
with Assassin's Creed, though, that was the natural path of that game, just like getting bigger anyway. Like,
as big as it got.
I got big pretty quick, but you could see like the natural path where they stopped making load screens between different zones and they just like keep it all together.
It became a different franchise.
Yeah.
And now they're going back and trying to bring it back, right? But like, my issue with Ubisoft is where EA used to falter with this more, right? EA has their bad and their good, but they're doing a lot of different kind of things, right? They have their indie stuff. They have their, EA program with like where they like to eat.
EA has kind of done pretty cool stuff lately.
Yeah, they have their sports stuff and
Star Wars Jedi Survivor
things, and then they have their AAA stuff. But they are still making a game like Jedi Survivor. Now, I feel like Ubisoft is looking at what's happening and realizing we've done fucked up. Right? We can't keep doing this, trying to fit everything into a mold. So we've had the Splinter Cell remake announced. Now we've had Assassin's Creed, more games traditional to Assassin's Creed announced. Right? We have a Star Wars Outlook, Outlaws. Sorry, I said what fucking Eve said.
Shout to Guillermo.
You gave him so much shit for it.
I know.
You did it.
He was.
Well, at least he's not the fucking head of the company.
Star Wars Outlaws and all that stuff now. So I think there's a brighter future. You know what I mean? But it seems like we have a wasted time period that could have been awesome, and they wasted it experimenting with all this shit.
I love how we go down this Ubisoft rant every
I know it happens. Shout out to Dark CMF. It is with a very generous $20 super chat. It says panel is on point and on fire. Cannot decide which is more prominent though. Ubi has been shooting themselves in the foot for years now. Yeah. For sure. And we'll see what happens. They had the golden ticket with Division if they just really supported it properly. But
I feel like they're making the right steps, like bringing Assassin's Creed back to its origin.
That has to be good though.
Has to be good. Has to be good. I am kind of disappointed that instead of them actually dedicating let's actually return to our roots, it was basically going to be a DLC and they expanded it from that. But I'm at the same time I'm glad they are returning back to that. It seems like all the games that people usually ask for, like the genre or world that people want to see in Assassin's Creed, that's like we really want to see Assassin's Creed but in Japan, or
which is why we got Red, right?
You got the mobile game.
But we get smaller versions of what we want, which is bro.
Yeah.
Well, we got Red too, right, Jasper? So it's but that's further down the road.
Feels like they dip their toe and look, we did what you guys wanted. Give us money now, But I do hope that they see from maybe sales of this new Assassin's Creed, hey, people actually, there's a formula there that people actually like. Wow, they actually like that Assassin's Creed is about assassins. What go figure, And I do hope that step in the right direction, and that's. I mean, I'm definitely gonna get that game. That's something I've been looking for in the franchise for a while. I mean, people have it's weird, right? Because you do have people who really like the new Assassin's Creed style of game. But I've always been a fan of just the original and how it was more about stealth. It was more about the creed of the assassins and hiding and
I mean,
basically
also there was
your target.
There was a whole baseline to the story too, right? Which they kind of diverged from, right? And I don't know because apparently Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla are all connected. So it's like, okay, so where did it pick back up again? Because I'd be interested in that, right? Because I played Origins, I thought that was a good game, pretty good game. Didn't finish that one either because it's just a lot. It's also way later when I played it, but then you've picked it back up again. So it's like, where are y'all at? They're trying to figure it out, but to me, it's just like you've had so many different opportunities to try to display yourself in the best light, and you just I guess you could compare it to Microsoft. You step on a rake, man.
Where I used to think
follow.
Where I used to think Assassin's Creed was going to go back after the first two, right? I was following the Desmond storyline,
Right.
I was like, man, it's gonna be awesome seeing them hop into Animus and keep moving forward time for each game until they catch up with current day. And then at that point, at that point, you're gonna be like Desmond, who's like super soldier spy guy,
because he's been through it
and climbing on all the fucking buildings in a city and all that kind of shit.
Because it's like the bleeding effect from the Animus he was learning.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought that's the trajectory that they were going to go.
But back in the day, like even with like Far Cry 3, they would have like little Animus Easter eggs and shit like in Far Cry 3. So everyone was thinking the worlds were connected and they were all going to like get together somehow and be like, I don't know, just cool shit like that. And it just never happened.
Then they went like totally the opposite of that.
Yeah, and I think probably some of the decisions they made were probably just based on like game design decisions, not necessarily game story decisions, right? I feel like they were like, well, how can we make this more of like an open world RPG franchise, because that's going to make us more money and all this kind of stuff. So let's do this.
I mean, that's Ubisoft's whole point, is how can we get as much money out of them as we can. So
which is every business's point, but I feel like my thing is like they could have made another franchise. You know what I mean? Like instead of changing everything to fit formulas, and that's Ubisoft's biggest thing. Everything that has a huge following and a huge fan base, and they love it for what it is. Looking forward to the next one. They fucking sabotage them, and just like it doesn't matter, right?
Their creativity is locked up because they have to just do it based off whatever makes money. They can't be creative, so it's like,
well, other publishers figure out ways to be creative and still.
Vision isn't there, man, and that's what happens.
I don't know.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think it also speaks to like the bigger picture that I like to bring up too about single player games and how that's kind of changed also. And they probably went through that, trying to understand how to make that. How do we evolve? Because my biggest thing that I've always had against single player games, why I had that weird vision on towards them, it's like once you beat it, that's it, right? So how do you keep somebody invested in your ecosystem, because you're not an Xbox, you don't have your own, like necessarily your own platform, you're just a publisher putting out games, and if you're doing more so single player style games, you dipped your toe in the multiplayer a little bit, that didn't work well. A desync connection, whatever the case may have been, and there was nobody else to pick up that vision to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Then again, they've been floundering, but we'll see.
I think they'll find their footing at some point. They have a lot of cool stuff on the horizon, so we'll see. Hey, another big franchise just got an interesting was this a leak kind of a rating happened for Red Dead Redemption remaster in Korea.
I'm excited for that.
Can't wait to pay another $70 for that game.
For the first, this is for Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah, it's supposed to be for 1. Yeah, it's supposed to be 1.
So
if they went back and did that,
would you think they would do it like just modernize it like Red Dead Redemption 2 and kind of?
Well, they already have the map made.
I know, that's what my thing is like. So maybe they took the map and like, hey, let's play out the story again and really do it. Do you think this spells any hope for a Red Dead Redemption 2 update? Any chance? 4K or 60 frames for?
Oh,
you're
muted,
unmuted, Pong.
You muted, Pong.
I said for how long they took to do this one, next generation. We'll get Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, they're focused on GTA 6 right now, and then like
This is how
with
Rockstar
how they did the San Andreas.
Nah, don't say that,
remastered,
dude.
bro.
No, don't say that, dude. No,
Do you-
I'm just saying.
Don't say they're gonna do that to
Yeah,
Three,
that's
three
true,
bits
bro.
right. Three
That's
bits
true.
right. That's what I'm
It's
saying. Like,
just-
it's
I
just-
think
don't
if
know.
they were to remaster Red Dead 1, though, like I think they would try to fix the naming problem with that game. Like call it Red Dead, like Red Dead 3 or something like that. Like they would have to fix the naming problem because people are going to be confused with that. I feel like.
Oh, like what? Well, you just call it Red Dead Redemption remake
yeah, remaster.
or remaster.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't know. I feel like they would do something where they would try to add something to it, or like if they're going to go fully remake it, they're going to try to fix that whole naming problem with that game.
Yeah, maybe Red Dead Redemption Reloaded or some shit
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that.
You know, they'll do one of those things, right?
Just call it part 1.
But they
Other
won't.
people do it.
But it's part 2.
But
Oh,
they
okay.
will. They will not bring a optimization or a 60 FPS update to any of those games if they're going to remake it, because then that's technically their update. They're going to
Okay, that's fine. If you want to charge me for Red Dead Redemption 2 at 60 frames, I will. I'll make an exception on
Oh,
that
God.
one. I'll fucking pay for that shit.
And add an
Like,
option where I
my
can skip
God,
the
it's-
snow level, please.
like-
Like I'm tired of doing that part.
And I'll tell Rocksteady as well, if Batman Arkham series, you're putting that shit on the Switch before you're giving us an update for current gen consoles for the Arkham games. I mean, okay, so
Matt, they put 5 minutes of work in the Switch version. They didn't spend a whole.
Yeah, they just
I-
downgraded it.
I don't give a shit. Like, here we go.
It's gonna be cool to play on
I'll,
the Switch,
I'll
like,
pay for updates to those games.
I have
like-
a feeling they're gonna do a Mass Effect type remake of the Arkham series and bring it out in a one.
Oh, I thought you were about to
package.
say Red Dead. Like
I
we
would
get
buy
Red
it.
Dead
Oh,
Revolver.
if they do,
Yeah.
Pong,
Do
if they
Yeah.
I'll buy
do
it.
a Mass
Yeah.
Effect Legendary
Yes.
Edition type
Yes.
remake for those games
Yes.
from Asylum through, bro.
Yes.
It'd be
Yeah.
such easy
I would buy
money,
it
bro.
day
It's
one.
such easy money.
Day
bro.
one. Yep.
Yep. There'd be so many people day one on that.
Because
It'd be-
those games are
stupid.
in sorely need of an update, right? They're,
Right.
they like the,
Oh, yeah,
the
especially visually,
gameplay
yeah.
and all that stuff is fantastic still,
Mhm.
but like the resolution and the frame rate and stuff like on consoles kind of kills
Yeah,
the
no, they-
experience, you know.
They got to
And
go
now
back
with
through
6,000
worlds.
Riddler trophies. So
Oh,
you got plenty
God,
of time
yeah,
now.
Ooh.
no.
I
Nice.
got all of them in the first one, but dang, there's a lot in the second and third one.
So what do you,
Okay.
the remaster? Do y'all think it's going to be like a San Andreas style, like just lazy remaster?
It's hard to tell with them.
No,
Or-
I was just I
Is
was
Red
kinda
Dead
thinking about
Redemption's
that,
a
but I don't know.
premier thing, you know.
They could like
Did the
So
ratings
was Vice
say
City
who was
and
making
Red
it?
That's true.
I don't know because it was a Kotaku article and I didn't read.
Oh,
okay.
okay. I don't blame you.
I refuse.
That's fair.
Because I was wondering if it was the same team that made the ports or whatever for the Vice City and San Andreas.
You'd think they would have learned their lesson from that, though, right?
It's Rockstar. They made a shit ton of money off that. They don't care.
Wasn't that Grove Street who that did that? Or
Yeah,
'cause I saw
it
something
was-
about Grove Street, or whatever. They left Rockstar, I think.
How? They fucking named the studio off a fucking street in GTA.
I'm not to pull that back up because I saw something about that. I was like, how does that work? But hold on.
Interesting.
I'm gonna look it up anyway.
Well, yeah, we also
I hope not. If to end on that, like I think that they already have the assets for Red Dead, so I would hope they just reuse that map and they could reuse the animation, the mocap data.
It's gonna be that map, but it's gonna have 360 characters walking around.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. They could. I don't see them going all out on this one. I feel like all their attention right now is on GTA, the next iteration. So I feel like that's a way smaller team. I would hope so, because that game definitely deserves it. But they didn't even really treat the online for Red Dead Redemption 2. Once they finished, they're like, "Yep,
Red
okay,
Dead 1's online was better than 2. I played more of that than I did 2.
yeah." Their focus is 100% on GTA, and then Red Dead has always been like,
we had a lot of fun with it when we were playing though. The no gooders up to no good. We had a lot of streams playing Red Dead
yeah,
2 online.
love it. Such a good game.
And I was just thinking, man.
Yeah, Grove Street Games are now co-developers of Ark 2 and lead developers of Ark's Ultimate Survivor Edition for Nintendo Switch.
Interesting.
Maybe they just got licensed. They didn't leave Rocks.
No, I don't.
They
I don't.
probably
doesn't
got
look like they
licensed
left
out
or
or
anything.
something.
Yeah,
to
they
do a
just
port.
aren't doing anything with GTA currently. It looks like.
Right. Other news: 11-Bit Games, who's a smaller publisher, has announced, which we found very interesting. Kind of alluded to it before. That they have signed a multi-game deal with Xbox to bring games to Game Pass. This includes new games as well. So they have Frostpunk 2 coming out, and I don't know what else is on the horizon for them. Frostpunk 2, is that officially coming to Game Pass, or is that just a hypothetical?
No, that was part of it. They
Frostpunk 2 is part of it.
Yeah.
When is the release date on that one?
Not announced. It's just 2024 right now.
Okay.
So,
and
they've
that's
got
a
another game
survival
called-
city builder game.
Kind of, yeah. Survival city builder, correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And I thought it was interesting that now 11-Bit Games, aren't they have some other ones too. I think Children of Morta or Child of Morta. I forget the name of that game, but that was a pretty popular indie game. I think they published that.
They published it. Yeah, they published that one. Yep.
So they have some pretty successful
This War
games
Mine
out
and
there.
Frostpunk is kind of what they're known
This
for.
War of Mine is their it was their big one. Yeah.
So, and that is a game that kind of looks like Fallout Shelter a little bit with the way that it's got the rooms and the 2D.
Yeah, but it's more
style,
narrative,
right?
It's
like
it's narrative.
Yeah.
It's very serious and it's actually really emotional. Like it's
okay.
It's a tough game, man, to play.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah.
So interesting thing though for me was in how they actually made an announcement about this from the publisher's side, right? Like, and this is what we're talking about a little bit earlier about, maybe a little bit different things going on right now with Xbox and doing some of these deals because they're going to publishers right now and saying, hey, you put put multiple games on Game Pass, right? Like, and not just per game deal. I mean, they're talking about multiple games. We've seen kind of similar stuff with Thunderful games. We have Annapurna just had their show as well, where there was I think 6 different games announced for Game Pass at that show. And then the 11-Bit Games announcement. So lots more games coming to Game Pass day one from different publishers all around the world. It seems like it's Sarah Bond is probably behind some of this, I would imagine. They're putting in work.
I wonder how long these contracts are for with these partnerships, or if it's just game by game basis, or if it's just like your next 5 games or whatever. It's like, I wonder how that works.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they've been doing. And Mav and I kind of discussed this last night. What's got interesting is that some of these smaller devs and publishers that they're working with, some of the indies, they seem to be buying up maybe not whole catalogs, but lots of games, right? They're like, hey, we don't just want one, give us, your next 4 or give us these 5, right? It's interesting that they've kind of moved in that direction instead of getting single games here and there. Because we saw this with what's the other studio that they worked with last year that we got Humble, right?
Humble.
Yeah, Humble Games. They also bought a lot of games. And when I say lot, not a lot, but lot, like a block of games scheduled to come out too. So it's very interesting they moved in this direction. I like it because you got a consistent flow of content from the indie side of things into Game Pass then. And it seems like
they're
going
to
out
do FTC battles.
Right. You don't have to do FTC.
Yeah, we've kind of seen this with Paradox a little bit as well, right?
Paradox now too as well. We just saw that, correct? And all these studios that or all these publishers and devs that they're doing this with too was on the watch list, as we mentioned earlier, their wish list of potential acquisitions. So that is also pretty cool too. I like it.
Yeah,
getting to know them, getting relationship.
Yeah, and they can see how they like Game Pass too, right?
Correct.
Get that money up front. And I don't think any of these deals prevent them from releasing games on other platforms or anything like that.
Also for these smaller studios and publishers, it's a safety thing for them. It's like we know we're guaranteed $500 million in this, so like our investment's covered, so we can stay afloat for another 2 years.
Exactly, and maybe even kick off more development of more games, right? Like, pretty awesome. All right, well, we're gonna start wrapping things up, but before we do that, a couple notes. First off, I want to give a huge shout out to 2 Fun Spec family members, community members, who are together today for the first time. And I asked, as we like to call her Phasma, she goes by Prae now, so we'll call her Prae out of respect. Prae and Tony Grasso. I asked her if I could share the picture, and she said yes.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So we got, you guys know in the chat, we got Prae and the Godfather Tony Grasso together for the first time, the lovely couple,
Super dope,
hanging out in Vegas right now, and that's absolutely amazing. So happy for you guys.
Very happy.
Yeah, they
That's
said
awesome.
they met in one of our chats a long time
Super
ago,
dope. Super
and
dope.
like it's just hit it off. So as I'm crazy happy for y'all, and it's absolutely amazing to see. So shout out to both of you, and it's awesome.
And in celebration of that, Mav's going to announce a new show, Matchmaker, with Mav. It's going to be amazing for the entire community. So join on in that and see if you can find the love of your life here.
Mav, I'm going to need to see your demographics breakdown later so I can.
It's a sausage party up in here. I gotta.
Is there any part of this that's 20%?
Oh yeah, is that 20%?
20% success rate.
success.
That's what Mav's
Oh, you
going
said
to That's where Mav's going to roll. He's got his own model and he inputted the numbers, and that's where he's at. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna wing it.
The numbers.
You know, I think you and you.
Just guess.
I think you and you can do it together. You can make it. You know, give it a go. You and you.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh, Jesus.
You too.
Best accents ever.
You too. I think you can make it. I think you can make something together.
Youths.
You too. Get
It's
together.
beautiful.
Try it out. You never know. Might be love. Might be love.
Might be.
Maybe. Dark Steam F member for 17 months says on point for the community. Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, thanks to everybody for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I've been watching also. My connection's still up and down. It didn't crash again, so I gotta check on that and see what's going on before next week. But thank you all for joining us. Let's get to some amazing outros, because we for the probably what's going to turn into the official episode now. We never even actually did intros, because we only did we're live for like 10 minutes on the other one, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks to Steele for joining us today as well.
Thanks.
And yeah, dude, tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful people, you can find me, the Druid, right here in Diablo. No, right here in
Sanctuary, my home.
right here in Sanctuary. But no, look, you can find me everywhere. I Steel Rain I. The T is a 7. Easiest place, just type it in Google. Twitter, or the Xbox ecosystem, just because it's just so easy to go back and forth between them. But nonetheless, every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. UK time. Yes, that is going to be tomorrow, Saturday morning. It's crazy. The week flew by. I am one of the hosts for a non-console centric platform known as Living Split Screen. We're on the road to 1K. We're also the home of that educated consumer perspective, which we'll be dipping a lot into that bag tomorrow morning with a lot of the things that's happened this week. But nonetheless, yeah, get us over that 1K hump. It'll be a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, thank you guys for having me tonight and chat. You guys were lively. The fact that you guys came back and kept up, was ready for the conversation. That was also an awesome thing to see. So appreciate everybody being here. Hopefully you have a great, wonderful night and a great start to your morning. Much love.
Thanks, Steele. Appreciate you, bro. Psycho, where can everybody find you, sir?
Thanks for coming out, folks. And you can find me everywhere on social media, Second Out State. You can find me here on Mondays at 10 o'clock in FSB and 10 o'clock on Friday with Xbox Ultimate, where we go over which way and have a great freaking time. Enjoy your weekend, folks, and catch Living Split Screen in the morning.
Right on me. Awesome, Psycho. 3-bit. What about you, sir?
It's been a great show, y'all. I definitely had to hop on for this one. FTC things going on. I wanted to get to chat with the case with everybody here, but I'm usually on FSP on Mondays. I'm trying to do my show more frequently, around Wednesdays or around Wednesdays. Me and Mav did a show one-on-one where we talked about the case, so you guys should definitely check that out. Other than that, just stay tuned to my channel. I'm working on a lot of cool game dev stuff, so that I will be posting next few weeks. You'll just start seeing a bunch of just random stuff in Unreal Engine and Maya and stuff like that. So if you're interested, follow me on Twitter at i3bit. So love y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you, sir. And Jasper, what about you?
Yo, check it out. It's Lord Jasper on Twitter, Mr. Jasper on YouTube. Hey, I gave you Twitter all
every time.
Monday, Friday, 10 o'clock right here at Fun Speculation Network.
That's all, folks.
Yo,
FSB. FSB Xbox Ultimate. Fuck it. I'm done.
Fuck it, I'm done.
Fuck it.
Love it.
What
Okay. And
Pong interrupted me and it threw me all off.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you like
That's
that.
what
Nobody
happened.
ever gets interrupted here, ever.
No.
right?
We're so professional.
Yeah.
Oh, good God. Jasper's grown up so much since he joined us.
Oh,
I gotta
yeah.
say that. He really has.
I have.
Yes.
He
You never would have said "fuck it, I'm done" to end your outro before.
Oh.
Ever. You've come a long way.
This is episode of 145.
It is
long way.
episode 145 already. Great Friday night, everybody. A lot of good discussion here. Another Ubisoft rant, which was incredible. We can't stay away from Ubisoft for very long, but my God, just so much to talk about with the FTC. And next week,
all Ubisoft and
Ooh.
Switch talk.
No, it's probably going to be all ABK talk, depending on when the
Yeah.
judge decides to lay down her order. So
Ooh,
it's going to be absolutely incredible next week, one way or the other. Community, again, if she decides next week, she doesn't have to, but I think by the end of next week she should. It's going to be on fire around here, one way or the other. So it's going to be fun next week. Everybody get ready for that. But otherwise, Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. My hype man Steele already did all the work for me. I like having him around because he gets it out of the way. But living split screen tomorrow morning. Set the alarms right now, folks. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Be there. We're still on mission 1K. We are approaching 900. So bring a friend and tell a friend and join me and Steele tomorrow, where we're gonna talk all this stuff and more. 3+ hours tomorrow morning. Be there. And then, of course, tomorrow night, it's the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel. You know how to find it. More and more people are now finding it. It's been awesome over there. Every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, PTK Blam, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself, and this week we have the one, the only, Kay Asante is going to join us to discuss all the news. And of course, it's going to be ABK heavy, I'm sure. So be there tomorrow night. It's going to be a fun one. And then, of course, next week it starts all over again. Obviously, Tuesdays, Xbox Factor Podcast, Double Barrel Gaming, Mr. Boomstick, all good things green every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Shout out and congratulations to Boom, by the way, 4.5 million views. He just got his notification.
Nice.
That's a whole lot of views, folks. Yes, the man does it 5 days a week, but man, 4.5 million. Damn. Congratulations to you, Boom. And then, of course, Thursday nights, PM in the PM, right here on Fun Speculations channel, Pong and Mav in the PM. Might have breaking news next week. We'll find out. It's going to be fun, though. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time next Thursday. Otherwise, everybody, it's the golden age of gaming, people. Get out there. Enjoy your weekend. Again, if you are celebrating the 4th of July, you might get an extra day off or a couple extra days like some of us took Monday off, which is always awesome. Enjoy it. play what you love what you play. And I'm going to talk to you tomorrow morning. See you then.
Awesome, man. Thank you, sir. And everybody again in the chat. You rock. One quick note. Timestamps. Everybody in the comments after every show. Mav, where are the timestamps? Timestamps. I was going to watch the show, but it has no timestamps. I hear you. I'm trying. I will try and do my best to do the timestamps. I have to try and find time to do the timestamps because I can't. My mental fortitude is very limited, and I can't do timestamps while I'm doing the show at the same time. So I'm sorry. I do my best.
And he's like downplaying himself.
I know. He's just like, I suck. So that's why we get none.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh God, man.
Happy birthday, Scott's Gamer Dude, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, I will try and get timestamps, and so I'm not gonna make any promises for every show. But I hear you. I don't want no
bullshit timestamps like at hour 1 or second 1 it starts, and then hour 59 it ends. Like, you gotta do exact topic timestamps. Like 10 minutes in, we were talking about Dark Lee's model. I want it.
Oh yeah. I did them for the last 2 shows. Finally, they're up there. Okay. Yes, they're there. They're for last Xbox Ultimate, and they're for the last PM and the PM. They're there. I need to go and do them. I'm not going to do it tonight. Okay? It's late, and I got to get downstairs. So if we finish this live show,
Diablo.
10 minutes after, somebody puts a comment, why is there no fucking timestamps? Which happens every time.
That's
like,
okay. Now we're getting
we lit in a live show, then 10 minutes later, where's the timestamp?
He went from talking about him downplaying himself to now getting angry at people. Right?
He's bipolar.
One minute was like, it's my fault. I'm really sorry. I just suck, guys.
Sorry.
And now it's like, if I see those fucking comments, where's the fucking timestamp?
I'm just saying, no. Tomorrow, give me some time.
I looked at the timestamps. They were pretty good timestamps.
You did?
I don't know if they lined up, but they looked pretty good.
Thank you.
The last video, 3. Yeah, I saw it too.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know when timestamps are going to show up, but they will be there for this episode. I promise you.
So don't ask.
Yeah.
Interesting, guys. Real quick, off topic, but Blessing from Kind of Funny put up a poll: what wins RPG of the year? Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, or Starfield? Nearly 10,000 votes. Starfield is 40%, leading the way right now.
No Zelda.
Yeah, pretty impressive. No Final Fantasy 16. It's in second at 29.
He has a pretty diverse audience too, I would say.
It's a good poll. Yeah, for sure. Interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to play.
Nobody knows what that game is.
Nobody.
Yeah. Why can you? Why?
Well, we do. It's No Man's Sky. It's No Man's Sky.
Are you excited for a game you haven't played yet?
I will say that, like, my dad, he saw this trailer for Starfield. And he's like, "Yeah, it looks kind of like Star Citizen and No Man's Sky."
Oh,
Does your dad write opinion pieces for Game Rant?
No, but he plays World of Warships, and that's the only thing he plays.
Does he work for the FTC?
No.
Your dad sounds like my dad. That's all he plays too. Warships.
I'm surprised he knows what Star Citizen is. That's cool.
They see that stuff. I mean, they pay for like marketing. They make sure it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
I put it to you like that.
Oh yeah, Star Citizen has a lot of Facebook groups. I will say that.
Is Star Citizen actually out?
It's sort of out.
I mean,
it's out. It's just always being added on to.
Right.
And not ever
and
fully finished.
It's very buggy.
and if you got $10,000, you can get a decent ship.
And it's not very well optimized either.
Yeah.
And not even like where like, oh, it can hit 60. Like you will fall through a ship as soon as you load in type of optimization. Like it's very buggy.
It's one of those where they say, oh, the game is good, but when you load into the city, it's like 15 frames.
Listen, they're an indie studio who has only gotten $500 million. Come on, what do you expect? Come on, guys.
500
been a
million. Oh
while.
my God.
What they're trying to do is
Just a little
impressive, but goodness gracious, the fact like, sorry,
I mean,
this is a
again,
whole.
I like the
I know we're ending the show.
I like
But,
the
like,
concept, but
With Star Citizen,
we are?
I love the
It's pay to win.
concept and everything, but
It's pay
I
to
will
win.
say like the fact that their ships cost so much money, like
And you gotta pay
thousands,
insurance.
thousands.
3-bit. Literally, the game is pay to win. That's literally
It
the game.
really.
3-bit, you're messing up my timestamps. I'm gonna have to
Alright.
make a whole Star Citizen
Yeah,
section
yeah,
I was
now.
gonna say we're gonna put
Okay.
outros.
I
and
was
stars
right
I
now.
was just gonna label it as outros, and
Bet.
now after the outros,
Just-
I gotta have
just say-
timestamps for Star Citizen
Mav's
outros. You're just making more work for me, bro.
Bro, I was gonna put in the show notes. No timestamps due to
Yeah.
3-bit.
We're
DM him.
we're gonna have a rule going forward. Only 3 sections are gonna be.
Well, we
on
can
Xbox.
redo the outros
Three
now.
seconds.
We'll have
Intro.
intros, topics,
intros.
outros.
We're only gonna have one topic going forward.
Intro show.
That's all we're gonna talk
topic per
about, right?
show. We're not allowed to deviate whatsoever.
Hey,
Intros,
did you get the
outros.
timestamp while you were talking about the timestamps? Is that going to be in there as well?
Yes, I will. I will make a timestamp.
Rants about time.
I will
Yeah.
make a timestamp that says timestamps.
There need, yeah, it should be. You can just do outros plus Starfield. There you go. Bam.
Star
Yeah.
Citizen.
Or
Not
Star
Star
Citizen.
Star
Sorry.
Citizen.
Well, we can't get into
They're all the same.
Starfield because Starfield's an amazing game. That game is gonna be
Psycho,
bonkers.
you don't know what it is.
Yeah, you
It's
can't.
gonna be the best game ever.
Their previous games were buggy.
They were shit.
Yeah. But hey, we won't mention like how great the other games are. We're only going to mention that
No.
Fallout 76
I guess it doesn't matter.
is the
that it beat
reason
Zelda
why
before.
this game is not going to be good.
No.
'Cause Fallout 76 is what it is.
It's
That's
not
it.
God of War.
Can't
not
take you
laughing.
Final
serious.
Fantasy-
Well,
hey,
Steve,
Final
when you said that,
Fantasy
your guy
16
actually looked like he
It's
was
kind of
talking.
like God of War.
Your character's like, it looks like God of War. Your character was-
I can't believe
was
100
like-
people are still
It's
sitting
that
here
Thor
listening to this
game.
nonsense. This is
Oh,
great. Love you all.
I was like,
chat.
oh man, not again. His timestamps.
We're
That's
just
all.
ranting.
Mav
Sorry,
is
we gotta
thinking
we gotta
about.
let Mav go. He's hostage.
All right.
He's hungry.
What else y'all want to talk about?
Let's talk about food, man.
Let's
Animal
talk about that.
cookies.
Let's talk about
How
that
those
stuffed
animal
crust pizza
crackers
Caleb
do.
made for you tonight.
Huh?
Let's talk about that stuffed crust pizza Caleb made for you tonight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
Did you
damn-
put extra
Was it
cheese on
homemade?
Oh yeah.
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 Oh, that sounds
she stuck-
delicious.
She stuck whole things of mozzarella cheese sticks.
Yeah, I mean that's
in,
how they make. That's how they make
Oh,
that.
wow.
Though, Psycho.
and just rolled it over.
I thought that was like a thing that people knew.
Pretty
What
damn
kind of
good.
cheese? Is it blended cheese? Is it like mozzarella?
But
Yeah, it's
it's mozzarella.
Yeah, it's the mozzarella. They put
Mozzarella.
the mozzarella sticks in. Yeah,
No, it's
Mozzarella.
brie. It's brie cheese.
it's Gouda.
Now, were
Gouda.
those cheese
It's
sticks or
Gouda.
cheese snacks?
Nacho
Is it
cheese
Bluebell?
sauce. It's nacho cheese dip sauce. It's the cheese that Pong dips in Miracle Whip.
Uh,
Which is sharp cheddar. Let's go.
I can't-
Sharp cheddar.
That's a Wisconsin.
Sharp cheddar and Miracle Whip.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
All right. I think it's time to go, guys.
Yeah, I think so. Alvin with the Alvin with the
$2
$2
super
super chat says Mav turning Matt Booty levels of anger right now.
Jesus.
Make everything exclusive. Pull it away.
Fuck 'em.
Everything.
I thought he
fuck
needs to
him.
be fired.
I didn't know
I
he
thought-
had it in him. Honestly,
Oh,
what do you know?
No
People
effing
told me
say.
that Booty should be fired.
Yeah.
Turns out
All
Booty,
games-
Booty was our hero.
All games.
all
Thanks for
along.
dropping in here. This is
Yeah.
our outros. We're still talking, by the way.
He was the hero we didn't know that we needed.
Our outros are like 10 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
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 All
I
right.
wonder what the timestamp's going to look like for that.
Yeah,
I had-
you gotta add in Gouda cheese, you gotta add in Star Citizen and yeah, good luck.
Starfield,
Starfield.
how Final
And Miracle
Fantasy
Whip.
16 is like
Stuffed crust pizza.
anytime stamp.
All right.
It's okay,
Yeah.
but it's okay for Final Fantasy 16 to be 30 frames. It's okay.
And 720p. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Great
Fine.
year. RPG of best.
What
RPG
you gonna
of all
do
time.
about it? Nothing.
Even though they
You
took
know?
out all the RPG elements.
What
Yeah.
are we gonna do? You know, it
It's
is
no
what
longer
it
an
is.
RPG, but it's called an RPG.
Well, yeah, because God of War and Horizon are both RPGs now. So
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Everything's
I mean, you're playing a role.
Right.
And I'm a
You're
cat.
right, Steel. 100%. That's what we're down to. We've distilled it all the way down to if you're playing a role, it is now a role playing game. So there you go.
That's not good enough.
Sure.
No.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I bet.
Yeah.
See,
So basically every game.
So does that mean like poker is like an RPG now? Because you're playing a
well, video
player.
poker. Yeah. You're playing. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who knew?
know that? What do you know? You learn a lot on this show.
this is going downhill.
Gran
fast and fast.
Turismo is a role playing game.
Hey, man, I'm just letting it go.
Louis Jose is like, will the stream end properly? LOL. No, Mav's just gonna shut it off and not tell us.
Yeah, you just be like, boop, boop.
We're already offline.
Yeah.
Hey, your internet lasted quite a while, so don't forget to
Exo
timestamp that.
Primal is 2 weeks away now. So someone
Yeah.
mentioned that in the chat.
I hope it doesn't flop.
Oh, Exo Primal timestamp. Okay, here we go. All right.
We can do outros again.
Baldur's Gate 3 coming out early too, by the way, for PC. So they got out of the way of Starfield.
Yeah.
170 hours of cinematics, 2 million words of dialogue, thousands of characters, more cinematic dialogue than all 3 Lord of the Rings novels, 600 spells and actions, 12 classes and 46 subclasses, romance almost all camp companions. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be gigantic. It really is.
But is it going to be on
It
Xbox?
really is.
But it won't because
Don't know yet.
Series S is
But
holding
you can't
everything
do those
back.
things. The split screen co-op on Xbox.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
All I really
Yeah.
want to know though is I really want to get y'all's guys' thoughts on this FTC stuff.
Okay.
We're going back to FTC now.
All right, bet. Start all the way over.
They're gonna get their PI. They're gonna get the injunction.
I don't fucking know it. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. Peace out. Take it easy.
Bye,
Later
y'all.
on.
Bye.
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 For real. Bye.
For real.
Stamp that.
No, we're
Real.
back. No, I'm just kidding. Bye.